People that have gone on Tinder dates. What was your worst and weirdest experiences? Story 1. We went on 3 dates. The next time she asked to see me. I told her I was visiting family and wouldn't be available until the following weekend. At that moment, she freaked out and sent me a 7-page-long text about how I destroyed what could have been a perfect relationship, and that she still wanted to marry me even if I would just put her first. She then left me a voicemail of her singing "You Got It Bad" by Usher while crying and saying she loved me over and over. 2 days later, she sent me pictures of her burning a bucket list she had made for us. Glad I got out of that one unscathed. Story 2. So I was in Shanghai for work and decided to see what was happening on Tinder. I had to use a VPN to get around the Great Firewall. Anyway, I matched with a girl and chatted briefly. She asked if I wanted to meet at her hotel for a drink. Alarm bells should have been ringing willy. So I shower up, pop a breath mint, and smash out a Lucky Panda cigarette whilst flagging down a cab. I made to her hotel, and to my astonishment, she is the woman in the profile, waiting for me at the hotel bar. Have a few cocktails and things are going well. She's friendly, seems really into me. Then she asked if I want to go up to her room for some more drinks. Dear diary, jackpot. So we make our way upstairs and she doesn't waste any time and jumps straight in. When all was said and done, I thought, right, time to do the Shanghai shuffle. So I'm putting my clothes on and about to leave, and she weighs, "What about my money, baby?" My heart sinks quicker than a mom snitch swimming in concrete poots. I ask her what she means, not for free love, 3,000 Chinese yuan. She replies, which is just shy of $500. I was shocked. So a heated argument begins and I'm planning my escape, lest there be a pimp waiting outside. She starts screaming at me and hotel security arrives on the scene and hustles me down to the lobby. She follows in tow demanding her money, screaming, yelling, making a scene. Everyone's looking. I've really hit rock bottom here. Then I see someone get out of a cab outside the hotel entrance. I gap it and leap into the cab, telling the driver to drive, in the worst Chinese possible. I probably said something offensive, but the power of the almighty yuan saves the day and he speeds off, taking me back to my hotel where I can hit a bottle of scotch and reflect on what the actual heck just happened. Story 3. I used it. I'm a fat, ugly guy. I matched with a girl who wasn't too shabby looking. Texted for a few days until we were both off. I picked her up. She was very cute. Went to dinner at a Japanese steakhouse and had a good time and drank some steak. She suggested we go back to my place, happy. We stop by her apartment to get her car, and she wants to get clothes. She follows me to my house, and we make out in my driveway for a few and start to move towards the house. I'm excited, gotta get laid and all yes sir, been a while. So we are on my front porch and she goes, "Ew, what's that?" and points to this baseball-sized toad that hangs out on my porch. This is his second year there. Anyways, I explain he is cool and I knock beetles off my porch light to eat and stuff. She walks over to him, looks at me, like intense eye contact, and proceeds to slowly stomp on my toad. Now at this point, I was experiencing several emotions: shock, anger, rage. I shouted at her, "What the heck? Why'd you do that?" To which she replied, "I wanted to make you mad, so you'd make love with me hard." I was speechless while I processed what I had just witnessed. I told her to get the heck of my property. She flips out. We yell back and forth. I sprayed her with a hose, and she finally leaves only to show up 20 minutes later topless on my deck in the backyard. She had walked from down the road and pulled like 6 pickets down from my fence to get in the backyard. Cops came. She cried her way out of trouble with them and left. Story 4. I met a girl for a date who turned out to be much better looking than her photos, which is always a nice surprise. The date went well, just dinner and a walk, and we said our goodbyes. The next day, she invited me out to a friend's birthday party downtown as her +1. I wanted to go, but I had to work the next day and wanted to be able to drink a little since it was a bunch of people I didn't know. She said, "That's all right. You can park at my house and sleep over." Cha-ching. So of course I said yes. Fast forward to the middle of the party. I'm enjoying myself chatting it up with her friends and having a good time, and next thing I know she absolutely loses it and storms out of the bar, leaving me there. Drunk, with her friends. I still have no idea why. One of them told me she wants you to go after her, and I said, "Saw that. It's our second date," which not a single person blamed me for. I stayed at the party and switched to water while I continued talking with her friends. That was over a year ago, and I still regularly hang out with them. They have since stopped talking to her. Story 5. So last year, after getting out of a horrible sort of relationship, I decided to try something casual and use Tinder. Got lots of responses, everything is going well. The dates were mostly lackluster, and I figured I was just being too picky. So I decided the next 5 people to ask me on a date get a yes bad move. So the first guy I'm able to go on a date with wants me to drive into the city 45 minutes away, so we would have more stuff to do. Annoying but sort of understandable as I'm in a suburb without much exciting things to do. We meet, he looks like his pictures, we say hello, and he tells me that we're going to go play soccer in the park. Cool, I love sports. On the way we start talking and asking questions about each other, and I'm getting the vibe we aren't such a great match. I love to travel, he has zero desire. He only likes obscure sports, I love them all. But hey, I'm here. Stick with it. The entire time he talks about how he makes so much money and how embarrassing it is for his friend to only make $60K a year at his dream job. I make half of that. I would have left considering the love connection, or lack thereof, but I figured I'd be polite until after lunch. We head out and we arrive. Dollar Taco. Which, don't get me wrong, you don't have to splurge. But he looked me up and down and said you gotta earn your meals first, and gave me a creepy freaking smile. Note, I've had a fake phone call and have to leave, but he insists on walking me to my car. We get there, and I try to shrug him off and get the heck out, but then it happens. He leans in for a kiss, but not just any kiss. Open mouth, thumb out. And as he leans in, his crotch brushes against my leg. Unfortunately for him, the soccer shorts didn't conceal his raging hard-on. So I did what any caught-off-guard girl would do. I'd accidentally laughed in his mouth. Oops. I was too awkward to say anything and just got in the car, driving away. Story 6. I met a girl on Tinder. I think I won her over with my jokes about loving dirty socks and old Greg. We talked for a while and finally decide to go to a lake. We both love nature. We go, meet hug, and sit down on a blanket by the lake. We talked for a bit. After about 10 minutes, I heard a splat. She looks down and laughs. I look down at her leg. There, sitting there on her right leg, is a big white, pebbly bird poop. I ask, did a bird just poop on your leg? She says, yes, and laughs again. Before the date, we promised no BS. We must be ourselves. I don't think before I catch myself wiping the bird poop off her leg with my hand. I go to the lake, wash my hands off, and go sit back down. We have a little laugh, talk for another couple hours, and decide to call it a night. We go back to our cars and I go to give her the goodbye. I wasn't sure if I should give her a hug or kiss at this point. I didn't want to be invasive. As I'm hugging her and thinking about the kiss, I start to get it straight. I start to regret the decision to wear athletic shorts. I think I have 2 options. Turn around after the hug and walk back to my car. Try to conspicuously tuck the straight into my waistline of my athletic shorts and go for the kiss. I go for option 3. I'm getting it straight. I can't keep hugging you. We laugh. I hug her again and say, I'll talk to you soon. We promised we'd be honest, but on my way back to my car, I just keep thinking, crap, too honest, too honest. I turn on my car and wait to see if she's going to leave first. Then she gets out of her car and walks towards me with something in her hands. I roll down my window. You forgot the banana bread I made you. I couldn't believe I made her come back to the awkwardness to make her give me the banana bread she made for me. I take it from her. We both still laugh a bit about the straight thing, and I put the banana bread on my passenger seat. Then, and this is the part I still can't believe, she leans in. We kiss. A gentle, small, but amazing kiss. She walks back to her car and drives away. I do a couple fist pumps and then drive home. On my way home, I started to question what the heck just happened. So much about myself to doubt, but so much greatness to it. What just happened? I'm driving home and Bohemian Rhapsody comes on. I have a Wayne's World moment. I will not let you go. Fast forward 3 months. We're still talking. I saw her tonight. We went to a creek again. We have gotten poison ivy from each other, been camping, and shared great music. It has all been so great. I don't ever want to leave her. When we look back, she says I won her over when I wiped the bird poop off her leg. Needless to say, that bird was my wingman. Story 7. Met one charmer after talking for a few weeks. After agreeing to meet at a nearby coffee shop, I showed up right on time. 10 minutes later, I get a text from him to come outside. Seems sketchy, but there's people about, so why not? I stand directly in front, and he appears out of nowhere in a hoodie. We walk a bit before he asks me to walk down a darkly lit street. I say I'm uncomfortable, and he immediately starts waking away. I assume he's joking and call him only to hear him screaming at me on the other end. He sent me a text a couple of days later insulting my hair and telling me to suck my vulgar, you stupid bee. Story 8. Only ever went out with one guy I met on Tinder. He was a very popular hipster-y rich kid that didn't want to be rich dude, and I'm a borderline hood rat Latina that grew up in a rough neighborhood. I didn't think we'd hit it off, but gave it a shot because he looked like Robert Downey Jr. with lots of tattoos. We ended up having a ton of similar interests, and one date became two became three, and 1 month turned into 3 months. Eventually we broke up because he decided to take a job playing his guitar that would let him travel the world. Cue 6 months of weird but sweet and sappy and sporadic love letters, texts, and calls from different locations all over the world. We both ended up moving on with other people, but we still randomly like each other's photos on Instagram and talk very occasionally. His band is playing at Lollapalooza, and he's doing very well for himself. It was the most random, but interesting and only Tinder experience ever. Story 9. Met up for a coffee after having quite a nice chat over Tinder for a few days. He sits down and says, "Hey, nice to meet you," then continues to pull out his laptop and sit there in complete silence for the next hour. I had nothing with me but my phone, since I thought coffee date means conversation. Should have left sooner. Story 10. Recently met this guy on Tinder and been on 3 dates with him. First date went really well until his car got towed. Second date went to his place, got drunk and made love, ended up with protection inside, proceeded to freak the heck out and had to go to the ER. Third date he got me high for the first time, got way too high, freak out again, and started pinching his skin really hard and speaking Thai. He added me on Facebook after that. 8 out of 10 would go on date again. Story 11. Friend from class matched with my then girlfriend, now ex. He informed me of the match and proceeded to set up a coffee date. Instead of him showing up to the date, I did. I had the pleasure of watching my girlfriend freak the heck out. Story 12. First date went well. She's way out of my league and seems very much into me. Later, we're back at my place after dinner and making out on the couch a little. We head into the bedroom, and the clothes are coming off. She says, "Wait. What?" "You should know, I have herpes." Very funny. "No, I really do. And I'm in the middle of an outbreak." "You're joking." "I'm not. Do you mean a minute?" Being fairly herpes naive, I reply. Yeah. I go out to my porch and sit down on a chair. After a minute, I can hear her crying in my bedroom. She dresses and comes out. She asks me if I need time to think. I tell her that I do. We talk a little about other things. I drive her home and then spend the weekend completely torn up, weighing my options. Is she worth getting herpes over? You've only known her for 6 hours. Ultimately, I go out with her a few more times and it turns out, not only does she have the herpes, but she's bat dump crazy. I dump her. She tries to kill herself, another hilarious story in and of itself, and I test negative for herpes. Back to the drawing board. Story 13. Been on a few Tinder dates, most have been surprisingly decent. The only negative experience I've had so far is a girl who, after briefly texting and realizing we weren't compatible, has just texted me hey just about every day since. I haven't replied for over 3 months. Should prob. Blocked the number already. Story 14. I got matched with a friend of mine I was really interested in and everything was really cool. We ended up dating for a couple months after the first night we spent together. Then she had a night with one of my best friends. That wasn't really cool. Story 15. We went out for drinks, then walked around the park and had an enjoyable date. I took her home and parked next to her apartment. She said I shouldn't park there because I'll get towed. I said I'd only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. She said, seriously, you should park in visitors since you can stay all night and not get towed. I responded that I only need 3 minutes to walk you to your door. I am not a smart man. Story 16. Not me, but my friend went on a really great Tinder date a few months ago. She said they really seemed to hit it off. They got some margaritas, had a fun but very deep conversation about life and other philosophical things, and then made out a little bit. She didn't hear from him the rest of the weekend, which felt odd because she had such a great feeling about him. She usually has a great radar with these things. She ended up stalking him on Facebook to see what he was up to. He became a monk. Story 17. Not me, but a buddy of mine who made love with the lady he met through Tinder. The following day he regaled us with the tale of the insane love he had the night before with her with great detail. Fast forward a week, he now has herpes. Story 18. We went to her place, smoked pot, and had an intimate moment. She was a biter, and it was like having with a giant spider. Needless to say, I didn't have a great time, and she kicked me out. I sat in my car outside for 2 long hours tripping on pot, trying to come to terms with what felt like dying. Woke up the next morning with large bite marks. Never smoke with strange Tinder girls. That's a wrap for this video. Make sure to leave your relatable story down in the comments. I would love to make a video on them. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.